Hey guys, per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only, and it's not intended as financial advice. So let's talk about the Ethereums on this video. I'm going to talk about Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, the immutable chain. So first things first, the market cap, which I think is a garbage statistic anyway, Ethereum is going to break Bitcoin's market cap. There's no doubt in my mind. It's just a matter of time. There are plenty more ICOs coming. The Tezos ICO is coming, which is going to be huge. Not to mention all the other scam ICOs and blah 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 ICO. So for that reason alone, this unregulated ICO market should just keep propelling Ethereum further and further up. The ratio is going to get higher to Bitcoin, whatever, that's fine. I think in the end, Bitcoin's a better product. I really don't know what Ethereum is. I don't think it's an altcoin anymore. I really don't. I think it's fair to say that things like Ripple and Ethereum are very different than Bitcoin. They are crypto something, but I don't know what they are. If we look at, and I'm not just saying that to like dodge them out of the category of Bitcoin dominance, but I really don't think Ethereum is what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin's a specific thing to me, and Ethereum is specifically not any of those things. So if we look at this market cap dominance, you can see it's just dropping pretty steadily here, and it's only a matter of time that, like I said before, this is going to collide, and Ethereum is going to overtake the market cap of Bitcoin. The question really is, when do miners who've mined at a high degree of percentage sell? When are developers selling? This is Ethereum. When are the ICOs selling? When are the people holding tokens moving stuff around? Like, I don't know any of those answers, but those are questions to think about. So it's only a matter of time. I can see Bitcoin. I'm not even going to speculate. Honestly, I don't know. Who knows where this ends up? Maybe Bitcoin's the altcoin. Maybe Ethereum is the coin. The Ethereum maximalists out there just got to go change their drawers after that one. And again, just like the Bitcoin article, I put out this article. The bubble's not going to pop. And, the ratio is pretty high still, 0.14, but the USD value dropped, obviously, with Bitcoin. I think the big thing to take away here, South Korea is just crushing volume right now. It's just gobbling up Ethereum like nobody's business over there in South Korea. So that's kind of what I'd watch for South Korea and the United States as far as regulation. If enough people get burned over and over again, they're going to start regulating ICOs. They've already talked about that with the DAO. There are articles sprinkled here and there once a week about SEC looking at things. So it's coming. It's just a matter of time. There's no doubt in my mind that it's coming. If anything, the government likes to overregulate, especially with the Wild Wild West stuff. Someone asked me what Trace Mayer's ICO was. I couldn't find it. I don't actually know what it is. I know I've heard of it. I've heard the name. So if somebody knows, let me know. His name's spelled wrong here, by the way. But if somebody knows, let me know. I talked about the top 1,000 wallets. And I was looking at the daily... This is USD charts. I was looking at this daily RSI trend that is kind of getting squeezed into 100. So I think that's when we'll see the end. We're going to see just mayhem, just sheer madness up to like God knows how high, maybe 0.2 Ethereum. I don't know. Like, we can look at the fibs. It doesn't really matter. But to get it past where it is, there isn't necessarily a bear div here. Maybe there's a subtle one here. But what I'm trying to say here is, when we break this trend, it's probably going to test the 50, which is just basically zeroing out everything on the RSI. And if we look at fibs and pivots, I liked 450, 490. Those haven't changed. Those stand as, even though the pullback happened. And you can see it hit the 200 on a 30-minute chart. Top 1,000 addresses is actually pulled back a little bit. It was at 5 billion or something ridiculous. 5 plus, 5.2, 5.3. That's interesting. Probably meaningless, but interesting to watch. Alright, let's get to a chart. I'm going to just do daily on down, because weekly there's just not enough information. So just looking at this, you know, first thing you want to do, fib things out. Where do you think the high is? You know, it's at the 3 times its value from this level, essentially. Just in that fib alone. Again, there's a small bear div here. You're getting a higher high in price. Lower momentum. I think there was a volume div as well. Yeah, slight. It's very subtle. But in the end, I don't think that really is going to matter because this should just keep going. People are just going to keep buying. So long as they can buy 5 of these on Coinbase and 1 Bitcoin, you know, Joe Schmo is going to say, I can buy more. You know, that's just like making everybody sound super dumb, but that's part of the reasoning I think people are buying anyway. And if we look at just simple things like trend line here, just ridiculous 45-degree angle on this channel. I'm sure there's a pitchfork in here. I'm not even going to draw it, but daily EMAs, it's way overbought based on the EMAs, descending volume even from here. So yeah, this should keep going as long as people aren't selling, because people are sure buying for ICOs. If we go to USD, sorry, real quick, let's just look at the cloud. Cloud, the support's at 0.95 essentially, and that's really not rocket science, just based on, you know, it's kind of like just taking the steps up. It's going to take the elevator down. One day that will happen. I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. When it does, it's going to reach for the cloud. It's going to reach for the 200 on the daily, wherever that happens to be. It's nice how the cloud lines up with the 200 here. But yeah, this is like, you know, there's divs, it's just insanely high. If we put like a giant pitchfork on this, if we use this pitchfork, low, high, low, you can see it's at the median line. So technically, based on the trend, it's where it should be. No surprises there. And one thing I forgot to mention about this chart, you know, the dominance sort of dropped off around March 12th was the SegWit announcement on the mailing list, and then the hard fork FUD came shortly after that from Bitmain, the first round of it anyway. People saying, you know, as long as the Bitcoin scaling debate isn't resolved, it's kind of stagnated development, which is true, and it's giving alts a chance to rise up. And I'd agree with that. I mean, the dominance index kind of lines up with that, coincidentally or not, here. Okay, so that's daily. Not really much to talk about as far as entries or positions are concerned. I wouldn't buy up here. If it pulls back, it's going to pull back hard. So it's really hard to judge because it's basically all-time highs on USD right now, around 400. I think it'll go higher. Again, this insane dragonfly, even better than Bitcoin on the daily here. It turned green. So you can see this is like emotional capitulation. Just people saying they've had enough, and it's just like, ah, you know, just like here. Ah! And then it just keeps going, because that's how markets work, and that's how markets move. You know, you get the capitulation, the 3 down days, which is basically what happened here, and then we just keep going. So, you know, I don't expect that not to keep going, especially with, like I keep saying over and over again, but the ICOs, in my opinion, are definitely fueling this. All right, let's go to 4 hours. This is the ratio. Not really many things to discuss or comment on based on patterns. I don't think there's really much to say. But again, your long re-entry would be the Kijun always, no matter how crazy it looks. And I've said that a few times, a few videos, a few articles, but if you're ever not in and it's too high and you don't want to get in, wait for the Kijun. You know, all the signals are already bullish on the cloud. You know, entry was here. There's not yet been a bearish signal. There was some concern for a low time frame head and shoulders here, and it didn't really pan out. It held basically at the neckline support. Going to USD, very similar to Bitcoin. You know, you're seeing this V. I can see in my head what the cloud is going to look like, even though my cloud head prediction is wrong. I know that this is going to need some time to recover. So again, you know, Dragonfly, TK cross here, so cross, recross, this is your exit. This would have been late, This is why I don't use high time frame TK recrosses as exit signals. I use, it's called Bill Williams fractal. So again, you're in the trade here, you're moving your stop up with each fractal, and depending on where you put it, you'd be stopped out here, and you would probably be stopped out here for certain, which is fine. And then again, it gives you another chance to get out here, and then finally just dumps past everything. So for the long entry signal, I'd be looking for the 4-hour TK recross above cloud, super bullish, just like it was here, just like it always is for the most part. You know, it was here, it'll be bullish again if it happens again, which it should, on the USD there. Again, the 4-hour TK crosses here on the ratio are not actionable at this time. If we go down to 1 hour, you can see, again, TK cross down here, recross was up here. In this instance, and in any triangulation consolidation instance, it does give you enough time to get out. So you can see here there's a rough triangle. And you know, it goes sideways long enough for the TK cross to happen before you lose all your profits, okay? So you can see at this current moment in time, we do have a TK recross, price above cloud. Everything's bullish, okay? Everything has been bullish since price was here. Lagging span was above cloud, etc. So if you wanted to get back in based on the hourly, which is generally my compass as far as trends are concerned, it's telling you you're good. You're good to get back in. Now you can see here all this consolidation before it went higher. I think it's a little too soon to go higher on the ratio anyway, but Cloud is saying you're good to go. If we go to the USD amounts, again, Cloud is also saying you're almost good to go. You're waiting for the bullish TK recross. There's no div. You may get an Adam Eve, so a retest of somewhere in here, probably around 300. So you get like one of these, and there's the neckline, and then we go up, and that's on some sort of high volume, likely. That's a few, probably a day or two out at this point, but certainly a possibility. But again, I trust the Cloud more than anything, so I would just wait for that signal on the hourly. If you were trading ETH USD, which I wouldn't be, I would just trade the ratios, because if you're not in Bitcoin and Bitcoin's making more than Ethereum, what's the point in my mind? Why not just be in the asset that's making the most money? Then we jump down to 30-minute, which I don't recommend using the Cloud on for crypto generally. You know, you can fool around with doubled or singled, but 30 minutes a little too low usually for actionable signals. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Right now you're seeing the TK trying to recross bearish about the Cloud, but this is the kind of extended consolidation you're looking for on a higher time frame. You know, look at all this time. It was 10 days before it broke the high again, and we are about halfway there-ish right now. So it's reasonable to say that it's gonna break the high. If it breaks the high in less than 10 days, you know, it certainly was less than 10 days here. So we'll see, but it should keep going. And where's it gonna go? It's probably gonna follow this pitchfork pretty closely for resistance targets, so somewhere in 0.2 range, which is gross. Support's down around 0.11, something like that. 30-minute USD, you're also getting a TK recross bearish here soon, very low volume, no real divs to speak of, but just consolidating. I wouldn't be surprised again if you get some sort of U down here. Signals overall, 30-minute, not really anything I want to trade, not really anything too actionable. So here's Ethereum Classic. We'll also go daily, 4-hour, 1-hour, 30-minute. I like the daily because of the market structure here. You can clearly see the flag that broke up, the next flag which broke down, and some other structure here. It is what it is. And turning on the EMAs doesn't really help you much here. Turning on the Cloud really doesn't help you much either. Again, it's just sort of sideways consolidation mode on the daily. There's no div to speak of, just consolidation mode. You can see it return to the all-time high range for the ratio up here, and it's just kind of chilling. We'll see what happens. An ETC KRW pair on TradingView, apparently. I've never heard of this exchange, so this will be interesting to look at the chart, but it looks fine. It's really weird, just like candles. The RSI is fine, volume, it just looks like consolidation to me on the high time frames. Going to the 4 hour, we had this TK cross above the cloud that looked pretty good for an ascending triangle break up. Didn't happen. Again, it's just kind of chilling basically at mean, and cloud's just sideways, but you can see B-band's trying to come in-ish. It's currently leaning bearish. If it drops below the cloud, that'd be another bearish signal. You know, you might expect it to drop back down to 616. But really for me, ETC is just a buy and hold. I think it's going to go pretty bonkers. Barry Silver, whatever he's got schemed behind closed doors. KRW, low volume in here, really nothing else to speak of, no patterns. If we're looking at fibs, I'd probably somewhere here, 73,000, 73,700, whatever that is in USD. Whoever, my 2 South Korean viewers will appreciate that chart. So yeah, not much on 4 hour. Again, these signals get less actionable to me on smaller market cap stuff on lower time frames. It's just like it's too noisy. EMAs are actually pretty good for the low cap, low time frame stuff. Cloud's just whatever, but you can see it's squeezing between 5,200 here. If the bearish cross does happen, that would be not bullish, obviously. So you'd wait for the cross-recross. I do like to see it sort of flirt with the bearish cross and then get the bearish cross get denied. It's a really strong bullish signal. I won't even look at the hourly or the 30-minute there. KRW, really nothing to speak of. You know, you can even just fib this, and it really wants to get back to the 31781 zone, if anything, just because that's the 50% of the latest move. Alright, so that's really all I have for Ethereum. ETC is just a hold. I think the Asia markets are going to combine with Barry, are just going to pull it up really high. Ethereum is probably going to keep going because of the ICOs and lack of public knowledge of risk based on those ICOs. And like I've announced in the other video, if you want to talk to me one-on-one, Skype, Telegram, whatever, 0.1 an hour. Done it with a few people, never announced it. The people who I have done it with, I just continually talk to them basically daily on Telegram now. So it's not like I talk to you for an hour and then that's the end of it. Just let me know if there's any interest there. We can talk. As usual, like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, hit me up on Twitter, Telegram, and happy trading.